So when I see it myself in a photograph 10, 15 years ago, I think, who's this fellow? He looks like me. He has some of the same thoughts and opinions as me. But now I am a different person. To what extent, I don't know. Whether it's 30%, 50%, 20% on some questions, some matters. I may be 80% different from the person I see in the photograph. And I think that's good. It's very good. Otherwise would be football hooligans. Our team is everything, and we were born with the team, we'll die with the team, and we are a piece of wood, a stone. A stone doesn't change. Well, we can't see the change in the short life we live. So I'm always fascinated by old photographs. And I am trying to write a poem about it. As I have said, anytime I've been asked about poetry and what it is, I say, I don't know. I have no idea what poetry is. I cannot give a definition of poetry. To me, it came from the blue, out of the blue, suddenly. Sometimes I can write a poem. Others, no, I cannot. I cannot sit down and say, I'll write a poem. I can't do that. It's impossible. I don't know how I'm inspired and I write something. I don't know. I can only write, and that's it. Nothing else. So I am really astonished at people who give definitions of poetry. They say, this is what poetry is. I don't know. And I don't think they do either. Nobody knows. Nobody knows how he or she is inspired, not only in poetry, I think, but in, if not all, many forms of art. Okay, well, here with my friends, the Jumpers, I have been fascinated by the fact that with the first drops of rain, literally the first drops of rain, you see frogs on the road. And you think, where on earth were all these guys hiding? And they suddenly come on the road. And they love the rain. You can see they love the rain because they're not in a hurry at all. They move slowly, if they move at all. In contrast with the mice. Have you ever seen mice crossing the road? They go like bullets, really like bullets. Another good friend of mine who crosses the road slowly is the hedgehog. It's a very good friend of mine, the hedgehog. He crosses the road slowly, and in Greece, on Greek roads, that's very dangerous. And it costs them their lives. I'm ashamed to say, you know how great friends of the animals Greeks are. Some of them are, okay, but others not, really not. And so with my friends, the frogs, I have always been fascinated by their appearance with the first drops of rain in the autumn and by their calmness. No pasa nada. They're relaxed, easy, they enjoy the rain. As I say in the poem, it doesn't matter if the wheels run over some friends, comrades and so on. They will not try, like the mice, to cross the road fast, to to save their lives. Doesn't matter really. So I think, yes, they are praying to goddess Athena, the goddess of wisdom. So I think besides the owl, that is the trademark of the goddess of wisdom, of Athena, the frogs should also enter the picture somewhere, say at the feet of Athena, next to her feet. Yes. Oh yes. Shall I talk about my language? Mm-hmm. Well, I think, but I cannot be 100% certain, but I think I have my own language in Greek. I had it in my first collection that was in English, and in the second, which was half in English, half in Greek. It was difficult for me to find my own language in Greek. But I think now I have managed to have my own language. In other words, when somebody reads or listens to one of my poems, he will immediately understand from the language that that's my poem. That is a poem by Nikos Savvakis. And my language consists of modern Greek, a little touch of ancient Greek, Latin expressions, perhaps words or phrases from English, German, or French, and colloquial Greek, slang in Greek. Now, how I do it, I don't know, but the end result is something with the poem, that is, with a language on its own. And I think I have managed to have a good mixture of this. And with an identity. One can easily say, after he's listened to 5, 6, 10 of my poems, or read them, that this language belongs to Nikos. It's his language. And it's not something that can be easily done, nor did I try to have my own language. It's the language I express myself in, and the language that best expresses what I want to say in my poetry. I mean, the only other Greek poet I can think of who has his own language, and one can easily, I mean, from the very first verses of the poem, identify, is Kavafis. It's a Greek poet of the diaspora, if you like, who lived in Egypt, a Greek of a forgotten Greek of the Hellenistic times, because his poetry, 90% of his poetry, is set on the Hellenistic times, the times of the descendants and heirs of Alexander the Great, who ruled Egypt and the Middle East for 300 years after Alexander's death. First of all, the subject matter of my poetry. As far as I know, not many Greek poets write about animals. And they tend to be very inward-looking and very limited in what they see inside themselves. I think, as far as I know and can see, I don't do that. I have many poems about animals, and I would like to write more, and I'm interested in the animals, and I love writing about animals. I enjoy it. And when I write sometimes about myself, I don't think I'm to the same extent as esoteric as most Greek poets. Yeah.
Would you say that you use animals as metaphors for human behavior?
No, not for human behavior. I consider animals as creatures in their own right, and I give them anthropomorphic intentions and thoughts and feelings and so on. Okay. The jumpers. Often in the winter, entirely by chance and anywhere, I come across some travellers. With the first drops of rain, the frogs begin their argonautic expedition. I call it the journey, in inverted commas, of the frogs. I consider as an argonautic expedition, as the argonautic expedition, because for the frogs, exposing themselves on the road, it's extremely dangerous, and many of them die because they are run over by cars. And yet they take this risk. Okay, I'm not in any way implying that the dogs think, okay, we're going out on the road and so on. Of course not. But even so, I admire these animals that go on the road and take the risks that the Argonauts took on their expedition. Okay, a few of them, most of the time individually, sometimes, however, in groups of 3 or 4, they try to cross the road. They are not in a hurry. This is what fascinates me, and I love it. They're not in a hurry, and give the impression, to me, that they have been born philosophers or thinkers. They stop in the middle of the road and enjoy the rain. That's what a philosopher or a thinker will do. He's not concerned about if there are any dangers around him. He is thinking and he wants to express himself or feel his feelings. It doesn't seem to bother them at all when they shall get over the danger. They don't see the danger. There is no danger as far as they are concerned. The lights that blind them, or the wheels next to them, sometimes even over some comrades, do not scare them in the least. No, they don't. There on the road, they insist on offering their sacrifices to Athena, goddess of wisdom, these fellows being wise. I take it for granted that they converse among themselves. They express their philosophical thoughts and take the danger of crossing the road for granted. It's a part of life. We have to do this. What can we do? Okay, some of us will join Athena sooner rather than later. How many of them will reach Kolchis? Okay, Kolchis was the city where the Argonauts went, is unknown, as indeed if they're still interested in the golden fleece. Okay, the Argonauts went to Kolchis to get the golden fleece. My frog philosophers have ceased to be interested in the golden fleece. They are so absorbed by their own dialogues, if you like, on the road, that is what really matters to them. They might have set out for a further purpose, but they forget about it on the road, and they're only interested in what they think and talk among themselves. So they are superior to the Argonauts. They are the best Argonauts. Okay?